Hey there, pirates. Welcome aboard the Anime No Me channel. Let's get straight to the point. No beating around the bush. I think Garp only made it out alive from God Valley because of Roger, and even more so, maybe because of the advanced Conqueror's Haki that Roger used there, like it was the only thing capable of stopping Garp from losing his life for good. And this changes everything we thought we knew about this event, because God Valley was never just a regular battlefield, and if even Garp needed help from the greatest pirate of all time, maybe the threat there was even bigger than Rox himself. I hope for your support to help our crew win, and to do so, you just need to click the thumbs up button, leave a like, and subscribe to the channel. By doing this, you will win an incredible devil fruit, so just comment which fruit you want. Who knows, maybe even Emu was watching the chaos from afar, seeing whether the world would collapse, or if someone would rise up with enough power to change everything. We already start with the idea that Roger and Garp fought together. Sengoku himself says this in chapter 957, the one filled with truths dropped like bombs. He mentions that the world government erased everything about God Valley, and that Garp wasn't seen as a global hero because it would reveal he fought alongside a pirate. Now, why would the world government erase all that? Maybe because it was actually Roger who solved the situation. Garp was just there, maybe at his limit, maybe trying to hold it together with his already monstrous armament Haki back then, but without the Conqueror's Haki, because as we know to this day, Garp never showed signs of having Conqueror's Haki. And that matters. It matters a lot, because when we understand how advanced Conqueror's Haki works and see what it did on Onigashima with Kaido and Luffy, we understand that this is the kind of power that breaks defenses no other Haki could penetrate. So if at God Valley, the opponents were Rox and maybe some of the strongest members in history, like Big Mom, a young Kaido, Shiki, and more, only someone with that type of Haki could have resolved it, and Roger was the only one who had it. Here's the detail. I think Garp, even though he was strong, might have been cornered. Maybe he faced a wild Kaido alone, or a crazed Big Mom in her youth, and was pushed to his limit with his ship in pieces, his crew fallen, and him bleeding on the cursed island. And then, at the last moment, Roger shows up. Not with an army, but with his Haki exploding around him like an invisible storm. Maybe it's even there that he first used this type of advanced Conqueror's Haki that we wouldn't see again until many years later on Onigashima. Imagine the scene. Garp on his knees trying to get up, and Rox coming at him, laughing like it was easy. And out of nowhere, a huge crash. The ground splits, the trees around are crushed, and the sky cracks like glass. There's no physical touch. It's just Haki. And it's so strong, so heavy, that it knocks even Garp to the ground. Roger showed up, not with words, but with his presence. And Rox feels it, because he was also a monster. He might have even had Conqueror's Haki, but not the way Roger had it. Not like Roger did. And maybe that's when the tide turned. The craziest part is that Garp never wanted to become admiral, never wanted to climb the ranks. Maybe because he knew that on that island, the one who truly decided the course of the battle was the pirate. He didn't want to become a symbol of a victory that wasn't his. Maybe he stayed silent for years, just accepting the title of Hero of the Marines, because it was necessary to maintain balance. But deep down, maybe he knows. He only made it out of there because Roger wanted him to, because Roger didn't let him lose his life. And then we start connecting the dots with other parts of the manga. When Luffy asks about Roger, Garp never says much. He always deflects, cracks a joke, or changes the subject. Maybe because deep down he respected Roger, respected him enough not to want to see himself as a superior hero. Maybe because he carries a debt, a moment he never told anyone. Maybe only Sengoku knows, and maybe even Sengoku only heard what Garp wanted to tell him. Because when it comes to pride, Garp is the king. The issue with advanced Conqueror's Haki is very important. Chapter 10. 10 makes it clear that this type of Haki is not common. It's not like armament or observation Haki. It's a refinement, a manifestation so pure of the user's will that it allows them to strike their enemy without even touching them. And that's exactly what Luffy learned after seeing Kaido use it. So if Roger was already using this at God Valley, it means he was on a level far above anyone else at the time. Maybe the only one capable of stopping Rox. And we also have to remember that Roger wasn't just any swordsman. Odin, who was a legend, fought alongside him and was impressed. Even Shanks, when we see him use Conqueror's Haki in the Red movie or in the manga against Kid, shows that the style comes from Roger. It's pure Haki, almost like a language only the greats use. So if Roger used it to save Garp, it's because the situation was dire. It wasn't an even fight. It was a massacre about to happen. and Roger changed the game with his presence. Another interesting thing to think about is how Garp used to act around Luffy. He was always hitting him, scolding him, but deep down he always cared. Maybe it's because Luffy is the kind of person who throws himself into danger without thinking. Maybe Garp saw in him the same spark as someone he once knew, someone like Roger. And maybe Garp's fear of Luffy becoming a pirate wasn't just about his pride as a marine. Maybe it came from fear that Luffy would get caught up in the same kind of chaos he witnessed at God Valley. Because there, maybe, Garp saw the world crack. And speaking of that, Chapter 1095 brought new details about God Valley, showing that it's still a mystery even to the people living in the world of One Piece. The island disappeared. How? Maybe because of Rock's own power. Or maybe, like I said at the beginning, because someone way bigger was watching everything from a distance. Maybe Imu? If the Holy Knights already existed and the world was in danger, maybe the world government used something to wipe the entire island off the map. But what they couldn't erase was what Roger did there, because Haki doesn't leave visible marks, but it changes destinies. So if I had to bet, I'd say Roger didn't save Garp with words or with a pact. He saved him with sheer power. He jumped into the chaos, raised his sword, and made the world stop for a second. And in that moment, everything changed. Rox was defeated, his crew scattered, Garp survived, and the world gained a new hero. Even if the true hero was just smiling and wearing a straw hat. Maybe Roger didn't do it out of friendship. Maybe it was out of respect. Or maybe because he knew Garp would be important later on. Maybe he knew that the D in their names wasn't just coincidence. Maybe the two of them had more in common than anyone realized. And maybe, just maybe, in that moment, the two of them understood what it really meant to change the fate of the world. If that's the case, then everything that came after, Luffy, Ace, Sabo, the search for the One Piece, it all started there, with Roger saving Garp using the power of Conqueror's Haki. And that changes everything. Because then, the pirate era didn't just begin because Roger wanted it to. It began because he saved the man who would go on to inspire the boy who's going to change the world. And if that's not epic, I don't know what is. To wrap up this idea that's been stuck in my head ever since we started connecting the dots, I think the truth about God Valley was never just about rocks or the birth of Garp's legend. Maybe it was actually the quietest and most important moment in One Piece history. The moment when Roger used advanced Conqueror's Haki not just to win a fight, but to protect someone who, deep down, he knew was essential for what was coming next. I don't think he just saved Garp, I think he saved the future. And that connection between Garp, Roger, and Luffy only reinforces how the fate of the world revolves around the D, not because of some prophecy, but because of choices like this. Maybe Garp will never tell the full story. Maybe Luffy will never find out. But the truth is there, in the silences, in the glances, in the mutual respect that passes from one generation to the next. And if Haki is the manifestation of one's will, then on that day at God Valley, it was Roger's will that kept Garp standing. And that's when it all began. That was today's content. We hope you liked it and want to share your opinion on the subject. Don't forget to share the video, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and stay amazing.